Imagine living an unbroken night, a world perceived only through the faint symphony of sounds and the uncertain guidance of touch. This was the profound and isolating reality of Bartimaeus, the blind beggar of Jericho. Then, one fateful day, an extraordinary sound cut through the familiar din, the murmur of a vast crowd, whispering a name that carried a spark of hope: Jesus of Nazareth. Bartimaeus, with absolutely nothing left to lose and a profound desperation burning within him, cried out with fervent, unwavering faith, and in an instant, his world, once shrouded in perpetual darkness, was miraculously flooded with vibrant light as his sight was instantaneously and perfectly restored. This powerful biblical account is not merely a cornerstone of Christian faith. It is a profound historical event that challenges our every assumption about the limits of human suffering and the boundless possibilities of healing. But in our modern age, armed with sophisticated medical knowledge, advanced diagnostic tools, and an ever-deepening understanding of human biology, we are compelled to ask, could Bartimaeus' blindness have been something scientifically explainable perhaps? A case of psychosomatic blindness or a functional vision loss, a temporary condition induced by intense psychological stress or deep-seated trauma that simply lifted with belief or suggestion? Or was this astonishing event something far grander, an act of such profound power that it utterly defies the very boundaries of scientific explanation, challenging every known biological process and the most cutting-edge medical capabilities, a true divine miracle that stands beyond all human logic and understanding? This video will embark on a compelling and thought-provoking journey, meticulously exploring the fascinating intersection where ancient faith confronts contemporary neuroscience, seeking to unravel the intricate layers of this extraordinary healing and what it truly reveals about both the astonishing intricacies of human biology and boundless, unfathomable, and sovereign power of the divine. The human eye, an unparalleled marvel of biological engineering and a sensory organ of exquisite precision, stands as an irrefutable testament to intricate design that, from a profound theological perspective, speaks volumes about a creator who meticulously bestowed upon humanity the profound and irreplaceable gift of sight. From the very genesis of creation, when light was first called forth from the primordial darkness, God precisely established the fundamental physical laws that govern optics, perception, and the very structure of the universe as we apprehend it. Our eyes are not merely passive biological cameras. They are sophisticated, dynamic, and incredibly complex organs composed of a delicate and adjustable lens system that meticulously focuses incoming light rays onto the incredibly sensitive, multi-layered retina at the back of the eye. The retina itself is a biological masterpiece, a vast and densely packed array of specialized light-sensitive photoreceptor cells rods, numbering approximately 120 million, which are responsible for vision in dim light and peripheral perception, and cones, numbering around 6 million, which are crucial for bright light vision, detailed acuity, and vibrant color discrimination, all meticulously arranged and interconnected. This complex cellular structure then connects to an intricate, highly specialized network of interneurons and ganglion cells within the retina, diligently processing and condensing visual information before it is transmitted as precise electrochemical impulses via the robust and highly myelinated optic nerve, all the way to the brain's distant occipital lobe, where the visual cortex then actively interprets these electrical signals into the rich, detailed, and coherent images we consciously perceive as our visual world. This entire visual system, from the initial reception of light to the final interpretation in the brain, operates within extraordinarily precise and immutable natural laws. Laws that meticulously dictate how light waves are absorbed, how they are converted into electrochemical signals, how those signals are processed and refined through various neural layers within the retina and brain, and how they are ultimately interpreted by the brain to allow us to perceive the world in vivid color, sharp detail, and accurate depth. The astonishing and meticulously orchestrated development of the eye from a handful of undifferentiated cells in a tiny embryo to a fully functional, exquisitely sensitive, and perfectly integrated organ in the mature human is in itself a profound testament to the divine blueprint for life, a testament to foresight and intentional design. Even before birth, the complex and intricate neural wiring of the visual system begins its meticulous formation and maturation, diligently preparing for the transformative moment it will first encounter and process light after entering the world. This foundational divine design inherently includes the innate human capacity for intricate sensory input, the ability to gather detailed information from the complex external environment and its sophisticated, precise translation into coherent conscious experience. The very existence of light as a medium, the intricate and perfectly calibrated design of the eye, and the brain's astonishing ability to synthesize raw electrical data into meaningful visual stimuli are all fundamental, intricately woven and indispensable aspects of God's original creation, showcasing His boundless foresight, infinite wisdom, and unparalleled creative power. Therefore, conditions like blindness, whether congenital, present from birth due to severe developmental anomalies, genetic mutations affecting photoreceptors or optic nerve development, or acquired later in life due to insidious diseases like advanced, irreversible cataracts, severe end-stage glaucoma, leading to complete optic nerve atrophy, widespread macular degeneration affecting central vision, or severe complications from diabetic retinopathy, leading to retinal detachment or hemorrhage, or catastrophic traumatic injury, represent a profound and often permanent deviation from this initial perfect design, a state where these divinely established and perfectly functioning biological laws of sight are somehow impeded, broken, rendered ineffective, or irrevocably damaged. Understanding the unparalleled complexity, the exquisite precision, and the miraculous orchestration of sight itself thus sets the profound and critical stage for truly appreciating the astonishing and utterly unparalleled nature of its instantaneous, perfect, and miraculous restoration in the case of Bartimaeus, indicating a direct and sovereign intervention that fundamentally transcends all known natural biological processes and medical explanations. Throughout the sweeping and rich narrative of biblical history, blindness emerges as a pervasive, tragic, and often utterly devastating affliction, casting individuals into a perpetual darkness that extended far beyond mere physical sight. This profound condition invariably rendered sufferers utterly dependent on the charity and assistance of others, making them among the most vulnerable members of ancient society, and they were frequently relegated to the absolute fringes of community life, often with no recourse but to resort to a life of public begging for their mere survival. Beyond the obvious physical darkness, it imposed an immense burden of social ostracization, severe economic hardship, and profound spiritual vulnerability. In ancient Jewish society, physical blemishes or disabilities, including blindness, were often tragically perceived as signs of divine disfavor or as a direct consequence or punishment for sin, either of the afflicted individual or their parents, as starkly illustrated in John 9:2 with the man born blind, whose disciples asked if his blindness was due to his or his parents' sin. This theological misinterpretation further deepened their marginalization, often excluding them from temple worship or certain communal activities according to Levitical laws regarding physical blemishes. The poignant narrative of Bartimaeus, the son of Timaeus, is vividly recounted in Mark 10:46-52, with compelling parallel accounts in Matthew 20:29-34 and Luke 18:35-43, and perfectly encapsulates this dire human condition. He sat by the dusty roadside near Jericho, a well-known, pitiable figure of despair, helplessness, and persistent desperation, loudly and persistently crying out for attention and compassion from passers-by. His blindness was unequivocally not a minor inconvenience. It was a profound, debilitating, and inescapable physical impairment that had undeniably come to define his entire existence and social standing, forcing him into a life of utter dependence and public charity. The sheer volume and persistence of his cries attest to his desperate longing for a profound physical change, not merely a fleeting comfort. In the ancient world, the understanding of vision and its myriad impairments was, by modern scientific standards, incredibly rudimentary, based primarily on observations of the outward manifestations of the condition rather than its intricate internal biological causes. Medical knowledge was severely limited by a lack of anatomical understanding, sterile practices, and effective treatments. Blindness was broadly attributed to various factors, ranging from congenital defects and traumatic physical injuries to debilitating infectious diseases prevalent in the region, like trachoma, a bacterial eye infection that, left untreated, can cause severe scarring of the eyelid and cornea, ultimately leading to irreversible blindness, or complications from smallpox or other systemic infections. Nutritional deficiencies, particularly severe vitamin A deficiency, were also common causes of vision impairment. While some primitive surgical attempts existed for very specific and superficial conditions, such as the rudimentary couching of cataracts, a dangerous method of dislodging the clouded lens into the vitreous humor using a sharp instrument, which, though sometimes restoring crude light perception, more often led to severe complications, infection, and complete, permanent blindness. There was absolutely no comprehensive scientific or anatomical understanding of the eye's intricate internal workings, the delicate structure of the optic nerve, or the complex neural pathways of sight that connect the eye to the brain for visual processing. Consequently, effective, repeatable, and safe medical treatments for significant long-standing vision loss or complete chronic blindness were virtually non-existent, and a permanent, complete cure for profound chronic blindness was considered an almost unheard-of impossibility outside the realm of divine intervention. This severe limitation of ancient medical knowledge and intervention in the ancient era serves to powerfully highlight the truly striking and utterly extraordinary nature of Jesus' healing miracles. When Bartimaeus, or for that matter the man born blind, received his sight, it was demonstrably not through a slow, gradual recovery process over days or weeks, nor was it the result of any known surgical procedure, herbal remedy, or prolonged physical therapy. Instead, it was an instantaneous, complete, and perfect restoration, a profound and immediate reversal of a chronic, debilitating physical condition. This immediate, total, and effortless transformation, particularly given the observable and verifiable nature of blindness, pointed directly and unequivocally to a power that fundamentally transcended the natural limitations, all known medical understanding, and any technological capabilities of the era. The stark contrast between the pervasive helplessness and limited scope of ancient medical practice and the instantaneous perfect healing underscores the miraculous and divine agency demonstrably at play, indelibly marking these events as clear, irrefutable demonstrations of supernatural power rather than mere, albeit fortunate, medical interventions, spontaneous remissions, or purely psychological phenomena. To truly grasp the profound and multi-layered implications of Bartimaeus' instantaneous healing, we must meticulously delve into both the extraordinarily complex biological mechanisms of sight and concurrently explore the intriguing, albeit often misunderstood realm of functional neurological disorders, specifically as they pertain to vision loss. Vision, as previously discussed, is far from a simple, passive act. It's an incredibly sophisticated and multi-stage physiological process. It begins with light entering the eye, being precisely focused by the transparent cornea and the adjustable crystalline lens onto the specialized light-sensitive cells of the retina at the back of the eye. These photoreceptor cells then meticulously convert light energy into precise electrochemical signals. These signals are then transmitted along the intricate neural network of the optic nerve and through various crucial processing centers in the brain, ultimately culminating in the final, complex interpretation by the visual cortex located in the occipital lobe at the very back of the brain. Any disruption, damage, or malfunction at any point along this incredibly complex, delicate, and vulnerable pathway from physical damage to the eye itself, such as advanced, dense cataracts clouding the lens, severe glaucoma leading to irreversible damage to the optic nerve fibers, widespread macular degeneration affecting central, sharp vision, or a retinal detachment where the retina peels away from its underlying support tissue, to profound neurological issues affecting the optic nerve's integrity, the thalamic relay, or the visual cortex in the brain, like debilitating strokes that damage visual processing areas, fast-growing brain tumors pressing on vital visual pathways, or severe neurodegenerative diseases affecting neural transmission, can cause profound vision loss or complete, permanent blindness. These are precisely classified as organic causes of blindness, meaning there is detectable, measurable physical impairment, structural damage, or physiological malfunction within the visual system, typically identifiable through thorough medical examinations, advanced imaging, electrophysiological tests, and specialized ophthalmological assessments. However, modern medicine also critically recognizes conditions like functional blindness or psychosomatic vision loss, which fall under the broader, increasingly understood umbrella of functional neurological disorder, or historically, conversion disorder. In these fascinating and often perplexing cases, a person experiences genuine, profound symptoms of vision loss or severe impairment. They truly cannot see or see clearly, and their subjective experience is authentic, debilitating, and distressing, yet exhaustive and meticulous medical examinations, including advanced ophthalmological tests, electrophysiological studies, and detailed brain imaging, reveal absolutely no detectable organic damage or structural abnormality to the eye's optic nerves or brain structures that would adequately account for the reported vision loss. In FND, the brain's normal, unconscious processing of visual information is somehow disrupted or misdirected, often hypothesized to be linked to underlying intense psychological stress, severe emotional trauma, or co-occurring acute mental health conditions such as severe anxiety disorders or profound depression, which manifest physically. While these conditions are undeniably real, genuinely debilitating for the individual experiencing them, and require compassionate medical care, the potential for spontaneous recovery in FND can sometimes be remarkably rapid if the underlying psychological triggers are identified and effectively addressed through targeted therapeutic interventions like psychotherapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, or specialized stress reduction techniques. The pertinent question then naturally arises: could Bartimaeus' profound blindness, suffering, and desperation have been such a case, prompting modern science to attempt to find a natural, non-supernatural explanation for his rapid and seemingly miraculous recovery? Yet the biblical account gives absolutely no indication whatsoever of a primary psychological origin for Bartimaeus' affliction. It describes a chronic and profound physical disability that had rendered him utterly helpless, reliant on begging, and forced him into a life of profound marginalization, a common and well-documented fate for the organically blind in that era. Furthermore, the immediacy, completeness, and perfect restoration of Bartimaeus' vision. He could instantly see and immediately follow Jesus without needing any time to adjust, learn how to interpret visual input after years of darkness, or undergo any form of visual rehabilitation, goes far beyond what is typically observed even in the most rapid recoveries from functional blindness, which usually require extensive psychological intervention, often involve a more gradual and fluctuating return of function, and often necessitate ongoing support for processing visual information after a prolonged period of non-use. While science continues to explore the intricate and complex mind-body connection with increasing depth, and the undeniable potential for psychological factors to profoundly influence physical health and symptom expression, the instantaneous, perfect, authoritative, and physical nature of the healing in the Bible suggests a far deeper, qualitatively distinct level of intervention. This level unequivocally supersedes the typical parameters of psychosomatic healing and points directly to a divine restoration that bypasses the need for gradual psychological processing, prolonged therapeutic intervention, or slow, incremental physical repair and adaptation. The sheer speed, totality, perfection, and functional completeness of his sight restoration elevate it beyond mere psychological influence, firmly placing it in the realm of the truly miraculous and divine, showcasing a power capable of instantaneous, perfect, and effortless biological restructuring and neurological recalibration. Let us now meticulously focus our analytical lens on the specific nature and absolute finality of Bartimaeus' blindness as vividly depicted in the biblical text, examining it through both a rigorous clinical perspective and crucially a profound theological one. The Gospels consistently and unequivocally portray Bartimaeus' condition as a profound, long-standing, and irremediable physical disability, not a transient or merely psychological state. His established and long-held position as a beggar by the dusty roadside in a bustling city, like Jericho, was not a personal choice, a temporary setback, or a convenient social role, but an undeniable and tragic consequence of a chronic, incapacitating physical impairment that had rendered him completely helpless, utterly dependent on the charity of others, and entirely incapable of providing for himself or participating actively and meaningfully in the economic and social fabric of society. The narrative offers absolutely no hint, subtle suggestion, or any medical descriptor that his profound blindness was merely functional or psychosomatic in the modern medical sense, implying an underlying intact physiological visual pathway that was simply unplugged by psychological distress or trauma. His desperate, persistent, and unyielding cries of "Son of David, have mercy on me," were undeniably those of a man in deep physical agony and profound existential despair, yearning with every fiber of his being for relief from a tangible physical inability to see, not primarily for emotional solace, psychological comfort, or resolution of internal subconscious conflict. The sacred text describes no gradual awakening of vision, no slow dawning of light, no intricate, laborious psychological breakthrough leading to gradual symptom resolution. Instead, it depicts an instantaneous, undeniable, and utterly complete restoration of his physical sight. When Jesus, amidst the clamor and confusion of the surging crowd, singles him out and asks directly, "What do you want me to do for you?" Bartimaeus' unequivocal, immediate, and singular reply is, "Rabbi, I want to see." This direct and unambiguous request for physical vision, rather than for emotional healing, psychological relief, or a change in his circumstances, further strengthens the case for an underlying organic, physical blindness, meaning a measurable, structural, or physiological damage to his visual system. Had it been a purely psychological condition, one might reasonably expect a request for peace of mind, healing of the soul, alleviation of anxiety, or resolution of inner turmoil, rather than a direct, unmediated appeal for fundamental sensory function. Furthermore, the immediate aftermath of the healing is crucially important and profoundly telling. Bartimaeus instantly received his sight and followed Jesus along the road. This implies a perfect, total, and immediate restoration of not just rudimentary light perception or blurry shapes, but full, crystal clear visual acuity, accurate depth perception, flawless color vision, and, critically, the complete neurological capacity to interpret and navigate his surroundings seamlessly and spontaneously. He didn't stumble as someone new to sight. He didn't need time to adjust to the overwhelming influx of light and visual stimuli. It didn't require extensive rehabilitation to learn how to see and interpret the world after years of profound darkness. He simply saw with perfect clarity and immediately acted with full visual competence, choosing to follow Jesus. From a contemporary scientific and clinical standpoint, achieving such instantaneous visual clarity and full perfect functionality in an individual who had been long blind, especially if the underlying cause involved severe widespread optic nerve atrophy, extensive retinal degeneration, or profound cortical damage, would be an utterly extraordinary, currently impossible, and medically unprecedented feat. It would necessitate an immediate and flawless repair, regeneration, and perfect functional reconnection at every single level of the visual pathway, from the precise regeneration of photoreceptors and retinal cells to the perfect remyelination and precise signal transmission along the optic nerve, and ultimately, the instantaneous and complete reorganization and processing within the visual cortex to interpret complex visual data into coherent images. Modern medical interventions for severe organic blindness, such as sophisticated bionic eyes or groundbreaking gene therapies, while offering incredible hope and often providing some degree of functional vision, do so through complex, highly invasive surgical procedures, often require extensive and lengthy post-operative rehabilitation, and typically yield only partial, imperfect, and acquired forms of vision, not instantaneous perfection or seamless integration. The specificity and absolute nature of the miracle in Bartimaeus' case lie precisely in its direct, instantaneous counter to the reality of organic, long-standing physical damage and the slow, often incomplete, and technologically limited processes of natural healing, or even the most advanced modern medical intervention. It highlights that regardless of any potential scientific explanations that might be proposed for certain, less severe or purely psychosomatic forms of blindness, God's power extends far beyond the known limits of human biology and current medical capability, directly restoring complex physical function in a way that utterly transcends gradual biological processes, psychological influences, or current technological solutions. This specific facet of Bartimaeus' healing thus serves as powerful and irrefutable evidence that a direct divine hand was unequivocally at work, actively defying the natural progression and inherent limitations of physical ailment, demonstrating a sovereign and unparalleled power that orchestrates perfect and immediate biological restoration, operating beyond the reach of human science. Today, medical science, fueled by tireless research, groundbreaking innovation, immense human ingenuity, and staggering financial investment, relentlessly pushes the very boundaries of our understanding and treatment of blindness. Researchers globally are delving into highly specialized and often revolutionary areas, developing diagnostic tools and therapeutic technologies that once belonged purely to the realm of science fiction. Gene therapy, for instance, is making incredible, targeted strides in correcting specific inherited retinal diseases at their fundamental genetic root, such as the FDA-approved Luxturna for certain Feliber congenital amaurosis. While remarkably precise, these therapies are incredibly costly, are specific to genetic mutations, and involve a gradual, often partial restoration of vision over time, not an immediate cure. Scientists are also meticulously developing sophisticated bionic eyes, which, though not restoring perfect vision, offer a rudimentary form of functional sight to individuals with profoundly damaged photoreceptors, allowing them to perceive basic light, detect movement, and distinguish large shapes. However, these systems are invasive, require complex surgery, extensive post-implantation training, and typically provide low-resolution, monochromatic vision, a far cry from natural sight. Furthermore, the vast and promising potential of stem cell therapy is being rigorously explored to regenerate damaged retinal cells and optic nerve fibers, offering genuine hope for previously untreatable conditions like severe macular degeneration, retinitis pigmentosa, and even glaucoma. Researchers are experimenting with various types of stem cells, but challenges remain regarding cell differentiation, effective integration into existing neural networks, and preventing immune rejection. This research is still largely in its early, experimental stages, with clinical trials ongoing, and does not yield immediate cures. Even more conceptually revolutionary concepts are being investigated, such as direct brain implants that could potentially bypass the eyes and optic nerve, entirely sending visual signals directly to the visual cortex, thereby creating cortical vision for those with severe ocular or optic nerve damage. While offering a tantalizing glimpse into the future, these technologies are highly experimental, incredibly complex, and fraught with significant ethical and practical challenges, with widespread application many decades away. These astounding advancements are, by any measure, nothing short of miraculous from a purely human perspective, offering tangible hope where none existed before for countless individuals living in profound darkness. They reflect humanity's God-given intellect, boundless ingenuity, and deep compassion, relentlessly striving to alleviate suffering and restore function within the intricate framework of natural laws and biological possibilities, acting as stewards of creation. Yet, despite these truly incredible scientific frontiers, the relentless march of medical progress, and humanity's valiant efforts to conquer disease, the precise and profound nature of Bartimaeus' instantaneous, complete, and perfect healing remains distinctly separate and fundamentally unparalleled. While modern medical science can now address some causes of blindness with varying degrees of success over time, often requiring complex and invasive surgical procedures, for example, advanced cataract removal and lens implantation, corneal transplants, intricate glaucoma surgery, extensive and lengthy postoperative rehabilitation, and frequently producing only partial, imperfect, and acquired forms of vision, rather than the original flawless sight. It simply cannot, and currently has no theoretical means to replicate the instantaneous, complete, and perfect restoration described in the Gospels. The divine power that instantaneously cured Bartimaeus was immediate, absolute, and total, transcending the fundamental need for gradual cellular repair, intricate surgical intervention, a protracted, arduous healing process, or the slow, often incomplete adaptation required for new visual inputs. This critical qualitative difference fundamentally highlights the profound distinction between divine miracles and scientific advancements. Science meticulously works within the established laws of nature to observe, understand, and ultimately manipulate them for human benefit, bringing forth incredible discoveries through diligent research and experimentation, revealing God's intricate design. Divine miracles, however, demonstrate a power that can operate beyond or even suspend those very laws, showcasing the Creator's absolute sovereignty and limitless power over His own creation. They are not necessarily a rejection or refutation of science. Rather, they serve as a profound testament to a Creator whose abilities are not, and never have been limited by the very systems and laws He Himself put into place. The compelling story of Bartimaeus, therefore, serves as a powerful and timeless reminder that while we rightly celebrate the wonders of human discovery, the triumphs of medical progress, and the relentless pursuit of knowledge to alleviate suffering, there remains an enduring and essential realm of the miraculous, where God's direct and absolute intervention provides an immediate and perfect healing that utterly defies all conventional scientific understanding and current technological solutions, thereby showcasing a majestic harmony where faith acknowledges scientific progress while holding firm to a transcendent power that ultimately surpasses it. As we meticulously conclude our illuminating exploration of Bartimaeus' instantaneous healing, positioned at the fascinating intersection of ancient miracle and cutting-edge modern science, a profound and undeniable truth emerges. While scientific inquiry offers invaluable and ever-deepening insights into the intricate workings of the human body and the astonishing complexities of vision, there exists an unseen depth, a realm of reality that fundamentally transcends the precise boundaries of our empirical understanding. Neuroscience, with its incredible array of sophisticated tools, advanced imaging techniques, and meticulous methodologies for mapping brain activity, can precisely map the neural pathways of sight, minutely analyze the cellular and molecular mechanisms of various eye diseases, and even design incredible technologies to restore partial or functional vision. However, it cannot, and by its very nature cannot fully explain, the sudden perfect and instantaneous restoration of long-lost sight, coupled with immediate flawless functional interpretation and seamless integration into the brain's existing neural networks through a simple authoritative command. Our scientific models, no matter how advanced, how intricate in their detail, or how rigorously validated through empirical observation and controlled experimentation, are ultimately constrained by the observable, the measurable, and the repeatable phenomena that exist strictly within the confines of the natural world and its established laws. The miracle of Bartimaeus' healing, therefore, compellingly challenges us, as rational and intellectually curious beings, to acknowledge the inherent limits of human comprehension and the boundaries of purely materialist explanations for all phenomena. It powerfully suggests that some events operate on a level that utterly defies our current scientific paradigms, pointing decisively towards a divine agency that is not and never has been strictly bound by the very natural laws it itself meticulously established and consistently upholds. This is not, crucially, to say that science is irrelevant, fallible, or without immense value. Quite the opposite. Rather, it frames science as an extraordinarily powerful and, from a theological perspective, a divinely given tool for understanding God's intricate creation, a profound and privileged way to unravel the astonishing complexity, inherent order, and hidden mechanisms He wove into the very fabric of the universe, the human body, and the fundamental processes of life. However, God, as the omniscient, omnipresent, and omnipotent Creator, stands eternally and infinitely beyond and majestically above His creation. He can certainly work through natural processes, allowing for gradual healing, incremental medical progress, and the steady accumulation of scientific discovery, demonstrating His enduring providence and common grace. But He can also, when His divine purposes deem it necessary and appropriate, intervene directly to bring about outcomes that transcend the ordinary course of nature, directly defying predictable biological, physical, and even sociological laws. The compelling story of Bartimaeus thus compels us to consider that true vision might encompass far more than just mere physical sight. It might fundamentally involve spiritual vision, a deeper, transcendent understanding that embraces and integrates both the natural wonders we can observe and measure, and the supernatural realities that lie beyond our current scientific grasp. The ultimate mystery of instantaneous, perfect healing, as seen in Bartimaeus, remains a powerful and enduring testament to a God whose wisdom, compassion, and power are truly boundless, reminding us that there are realities and forces at play in the cosmos that extend infinitely beyond the horizon of our current scientific knowledge and technological capabilities. This profound mystery leaves us with an overwhelming sense of awe, profound humility, and a compelling invitation to continuously contemplate the Creator whose works are truly unfathomable and whose ways are higher than our own, showcasing a majestic and harmonious coexistence of the natural and the divine. So, was Bartimaeus' instantaneous healing a simple case of psychosomatic recovery, a brief flicker of functional blindness that merely lifted with a moment of hope? Or was it a profound, undeniable act that utterly defies all medical and scientific logic, pushing the boundaries of what we deem possible? The more deeply we delve into the intricate wonders of modern neuroscience, And the astonishing complexity of sight, the more Bartimaeus is immediate. Perfect restoration becomes truly astounding, a beacon challenging our assumptions. Ultimately, his story leaves us not with a definitive scientific explanation that fits neatly into our textbooks, but with a lingering, profound question. How far can human understanding truly go? How much can our science unravel before we inevitably encounter a power that operates truly beyond our comprehension? A power that beautifully reveals the majestic harmony between the knowable and the eternally mysterious, compelling us to look beyond what we can see with our eyes alone toward a greater truth?